Hey everybody, it's Erica from In the Company of Cards. Here the evening after the night before. Um, I wanted to say one last word about the Canadian election. First of all, thank you all for your many kind words to me. I appreciate them. But I've been thinking about that final card that I got from Mark Carney the other day in the last reading that I did for him, or I did on the election, and it was the mountain. And it really was the mountain that made me say, "Mm, that's not good." But hindsight is 2020. It's always really good after you've done a reading, then the situation unfolds to go back and look at the cards again and see if you can figure out how you might have misinterpreted something. It helps you grow your understanding of the cards and of the lexicon of the cards of the way that the cards work with each other. So, looking at it in hindsight, I suspect the mountain refers to the fact that he did not win the majority. The party did not win a majority, the Liberal Party. So they're going to have to um, I can't think of the word. I'm tired. I had a long day, but they're going to have to, I'm going to use the word. It's totally the wrong word. Collaborate. They're going to have to cooperate, collaborate. Maybe it's another C word I'm looking for, but with the other parties in order for anything to get done. So a mountain is not the end of the world. And I've said that before. A mountain is, um, sort of a situation where you are required to stop in your tracks and reassess the terrain and reassess your approach. So, this was not a slam dunk for the Liberal Party. They're going to have to work with other parties in order to get stuff done. So, anyway, congratulations, Canada. I'm happy for you. If you are not happy with the result, then what goes up can come down, and uh, you know, next time. I hope not. But anyway, I wanted to also mark the fact that this is a milestone where 47 has now been in office for 100 days. And there's been a lot of conversation, a lot of articles you can read online about his first 100 days. I want to mention the fact that many of us who do this work saw something happening with 47 in terms of his health from the period beginning the Ides of March, which is March 15th, forward into the summer. And I want to big up uh, my friend, Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot. She has a YouTube channel. She's an Australian. And she has put links to two different articles. I think they're both Australian articles, but they make mention of two separate unaliving attempts that were made. We didn't hear about them here, but sure enough, they happened. They were foiled, obviously, before they came to anything. And it's very interesting that we didn't hear about them here. But the articles are there on her channel. It's Revealing Light Tarot. She's terrific if you don't know her work. Um, I've been on her show. She's been on mine. She's great. And so we weren't wrong. There were those attempts to unalive him that, again, were foiled before they could get off the ground. So there's that. And again, energy is mutable, right? Those attempts were meant to succeed, but things happened, things transpired, energy shifted, and the people were arrested in these two separate incidents, such that, again, the attempts were not followed through on. Um, what I'd like to do is to look at not how the past 3 months have gone, because God knows we all lived through that. I'd like to look at what's coming in. And this won't be a long video. What I'd like to do is to ask Spirit to pull all the cards and just let us know, give us sort of the broad brush about anything that we need a heads up on in the next 100 days. I've heard different speculation. I've heard speculation about the fact that there have been articles of impeachment have been entered into the record by the Democrats. Whether they come to anything or not, we'll see. I have seen predictions that will happen around June, but I don't know. But I just want to know, aside from, him, what we need to anticipate or, gird our loins for in the next 100 days. We know that the first 100 days were about shock and awe. They were about just taking everybody by surprise and, sucker punch after sucker punch after sucker punch. That essentially was the first 100 days. It seems that Musk has now gone back to his business before he bleeds any more money. Poor thing. I love that for him. But Doge has done its dirt. A lot of damage has been done. So I think that the next 100 days will be about codifying everything that was put in place, trying to win legal battles, because there have been all kinds of legal battles, as we know, against everything that he's done. Um, but I just want to know, is there any kind of heads up that we need? Yellow is so not my color, but I saw this sweatshirt and I had to get it. So I'm going to stand up so you can see who's on it. I don't know if you recognize her. If you're an American, you certainly should. But that's Ruby Bridges. And she was the little girl who desegregated a school with the help of the National Guard when she was all of 6 years old. And she was all dressed up for the first day of school with the bows in her hair and everything, and walked in by the National Guard and got into the classroom. And the only person there to greet her was her teacher, who had volunteered to stay on as teacher when all of the parents of all of the children in the class said, "Yeah, no, we're not sending our children to this class." So Ruby and her teacher were alone for the full year. And Ruby says that this teacher made the year full of learning and love and fun, and they stayed in touch long after Ruby had left the first grade, which is really nice. And Ruby Bridges, she's still alive, just a couple of years older than me. So she desegregated her school at 6, and I desegregated my school maybe 3 years later, and I was 3 years older. I think she's around my age, Ruby Bridges. So she was 6, I was 9. And so she's my partner, my reading partner today. uh, given that uh, there's been this dismantling of DEI, this erasure of Black history. I just want us to remember Ruby today. She's a great woman and she was a great little girl. So I'm going to have Spirit pull all the cards. So that means even the center card, the most important card. When we turn that card over, that will be where Spirit really wants me to put the emphasis for us as we are about to enter this next 100-day tunnel. So I will look more granularly at different issues in the coming weeks, but this is just a quick overview of what we've got in store for the next 100 days. Okay. So, what will the next 100 days bring us, courtesy of this administration? What do we need to be most on the lookout for? And then I'm also going to take a look after we do this at May Day. May Day is May 1st, as you I'm sure know. And May 1st is during the week. I feel like it's a Thursday. I think it's Thursday. May 1st is the next big day of protest. Uh, so we'll look at that after we look at this. Okay, so here are our cards. This is what Spirit would like us to know about what's coming in the next 100 days. Okay. Okay. I really, really like these cards. And I have to say, I'm a little surprised at how good they are. So we have the dog, the birds, the ship, the clover, and the scales. I have said for the longest time, both here and on Substack, where I write, I'll look for my newest article tomorrow. I'm going to sit down and write it tomorrow. I have no idea what I'm going to write about because I never know until I actually sit down, but go look for it. But I have said here and on Substack many times that, oh, this is not the beginning of the end. This is the end of the beginning. Um, I think, and people will disagree and they're entitled to, whatever. I do think that we are approaching the beginning of the end in a good way, in a good way, the end of this reign of terror. And the cards would concur. I may draw clarifiers, but let's just see first. So, the dog. I like this. First of all, it's lawyers. And as I mentioned, every time he does some clearly illegal thing, the lawyers go to court. And while we know that the big law firms, the firms that deal in big law, the big corporate entities, have for the most part bent the knee because of greed, you know, and cowardice. Um, there are still lots of lawyers who are fighting the good fight, who will do a cost benefit analysis and do the right thing, choose the right thing. So I like that the reading is flanked by this. I think that these court cases will be coming at him fast and furiously for the next 100 days. He thought he was in court when he was out of office. I'm telling you what, his lawyers will be in court every single day because of all of this illegal stuff. So I like that. Also, the momentum is building. The snowball is growing. The avalanche is coming because this is people talking, people gathering. These demonstrations gaining steam, gaining attention. I can mirror it with Clover. I think it's going to snowball really, really fast. I mean, now what's his latest thing is that student loans are going to be called in after a 5-year hiatus because of COVID. So if you've not been paying on your loan because there was a hiatus, well, now you're going to have to pay your loan. And if your loan is in arrears, meaning that you haven't paid it and you have money due or whatever, and you haven't looked like you were trying to pay it, that your wages can be garnished. I mean, so bad enough that people have lost their jobs. Now their non-existent wages will be garnished, or their Social Security will be garnished, or their tax refund will be garnished. So this will just build steam for what I'm calling the revolution. in the center, and I'm always nervous about what comes in the center because it's going to be really the card that we put the most focus on. And I like that. It's the ship, which is forward movement. And I do not believe that we're talking about his forward movement. I mean, I'm sure they're going to try to move forward, but I think this is about the people's forward movement, the crowd's forward movement. Now, a word on this. One of the things that we all probably know, but maybe not, is that he's passed some law or whatever, made some decree which eliminates posse comitatus. Now, posse comitatus is a law rule that says that, and I've talked about this before, that the military cannot be used against a civilian population. He has claimed federal ownership over certain parts of the border, certain parts of Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, California, where I am, which he has claimed as federal land. And this decree will allow him to, for example, send the military into churches and into schools of sanctuary cities looking for undocumented people. Uh, the rule will allow him to knock on your door, and and the military will be allowed to do a search of your home to see if you're harboring an undocumented person. So this is a big, giant step towards fascism, totalitarianism. So, what will the lawyers do about that? Um, I think that, again, I think that everything he's doing is just building energy against his administration. Not mad about that. So let's pull some clarifiers and see what we get. I think I'll pull my 3 card postscript too. Okay. All right. So remember, the first card we got is the dog. This is the card for lawyers. Clarifiers are the rider. This is news coming in, clouds, and scythe. So remember, if part of the first 100 days was just creating this storm cloud of confusion so that we didn't know, where to look because everything was terrible, um, that will get cut through case by case by the lawyers. Okay, so we will start to see dust settle and learn what the parameters are of what he can and cannot do. Okay, second card is birds, and this is people talking, planning. Um, what are they talking and planning? I mean, we have coffin, cross, and house, the end of this administration, which will be painful to this administration. So, the more dirt he does, the more people are going to organize against him. The ship is in the middle. This is our side moving ahead. And I love, love, love that we have the key with that. However, the line finishes with the snake and the whip. This will be tough. People are waking up. A lot of people are waking up in spite of themselves. They would rather be able to go back to sleep, but they can't. Why? Because some of this stuff is hitting them directly. If they didn't lose their job, okay, that's great, but they might have. If they can't afford eggs, well, there you go. If their student loan is now due, with what money are they going to pay it? Wait, they won't get their tax refund? What are you talking about? And how much notice did we get of this? Not much, because it starts like next week. So it will move ahead. Our side will move ahead because of the answer. Why will it move ahead so quickly? Because of the pain that people will feel. Sad to say, there has not been enough pain felt, but there will be in very short order. This is pain. This is trouble. This is arguments and just, also thinking about stuff and saying, I thought it was one way, but now it's another way. And who did I vote for again? And why did I do that? People will see the problem that they've created. And that's necessary. This is necessary pain in order for the revolution to get off the ground. Entertainment purposes only. Of course, I'm speaking metaphorically, right? You too? All right. Our fourth card is Clover. And I like it. It means uh, quick. It means lucky. It means joyful, even. I mean, as much pain as we're enduring and as much pain as we will endure, I do think that people are going to find joy in, this is the card I can mirror it with, in connection with each other, right? In finding common cause with people, in finding community, whether it's in person, whether it's online. We've got a wonderful community here. You all are just amazing, particularly given how many of you there are. I love the vibe here. You're all very kind and generous and thoughtful and hopeful and careful with your words. And I think that is a really good thing. And so I love this card here. The clarifiers for this: woman, box, and letter. So, yeah, we don't have to threaten and bully. And, women will be at the forefront of a lot of this. I think a lot of women are waking up. I know in my community, a lot of women, black and white, are waking up. Well, the black ones already have been awake, but a lot of other people are waking up and and looking for clever ways to address all of these new rules and regulations and things. I think that a fox can be outfoxed, and the fox in chief's about to find that out. Final line, we have the scales. This is that card that I had added to the deck. Um, remember, we've got heavy coins on one side, we've got a couple of light daisies on the other side, but the scale is balanced. We've got to come to some sort of um, balance with each other in terms of how are we going to approach this next 100 days? If the Democratic Party's not going to help us out, how do we do it ourselves? You know, um, do we look to new people? Do we look for people like, I don't know, David Hogg, who I'm giving $5 a month to, because he is one of the voices of the future. He's getting a lot of flack from old guard Democrats who say to him, wait your turn. You can't primary anybody. Really? I think that the scales are about to shift in a new direction. And these young people and these activists of color are going to be the ones who get us where we need to be. Look, historic, positive change. So I submit by the end of the second 100 days, the tables will have turned. I mean, just look at the poll numbers. How low can they go? In another 100 days, they'll be upside down, upside down. Because even people who want to see the best in him are going to say, I don't know, I'm looking, but where is it? The diehards will be the diehards, but everybody else will wake up, which will be a gift to the collective and will cause more of us to be committed to the cause. So I can mirror this committed card with this dog card. So, really the branch that we can look to, I think, will be the law. But the people and the judiciary will be the ones who save us. We know that there have been articles of impeachment um, submitted by the Democrats. Um, I've heard talk that by June they will be voted on, but we'll see. I do think we're going into May, June, July, a little bit of August will get us to our 100 days. I think things will start to look better for us. The thing is, as I always say, this is not going to happen the way you want it to, which is quick, fast, and in a hurry. We have the tree card. It's a slow card. This is the long game. Remember this mountain, which is what I saw at the end of Mark Carney's line? This is not the end of the world. The mountain is the place where you stop, you assess the landscape, and you figure out, well, if I don't like heights, I better use a different approach. Should I go the long way around the mountain? Do I have provisions for all of that? Maybe I need to get provisions so I can go the long way. Maybe I need to get hypnotized so I'm not afraid of heights. Maybe if I sit at the foot of this mountain long enough, I'll see light right through it, and I'll realize I can just walk right through. But you realize none of that, and you see none of those approaches if you try to just barrel through the mountain, which is what people want to do. So patience, patience, patience is the watchword. And then the final card in the postscript is this card. I mean, think of this as, I don't know, the Marseillaise. You know, um, I think that we will feel a renewed sense of purpose and power and potential uh, towards the end of the next 100 days. We may feel beaten up, but in our being beaten up, we will find new purpose, new drive, new determination. And I think our ranks will grow. I really think our ranks will grow. Because even those people who are still see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, will say, wait a minute, I'm drowning in evil. So let me see what the other side has to offer. I really think so. So I think this is hopeful for whatever is coming in towards the end of the next 100 days. I think the people will say, enough, basta, no más, all the rest of it. I think people will have had it, and the message will have been delivered. And there will be a lot of backtracking, but even as he backtracks, he will have to face the legal system and all of this illegal stuff that he's done. So, I mean, again, I'm always saying I'm not trying to be Pollyanna, and I'm really not trying to be Pollyanna. This is, as the postscript indicated, not a sprint, a marathon. But I think that we understand that. More of us will see that. And, with a marathon, you pace yourself so that you have energy to get to the finish line. So I wanted to just take another quick look, not another quick look, but one more thing I'd like to look at, which is Mayday. Again, Mayday is the next 50-50 one day, which is, 50 protests in 50 states for one cause. That's what that stands for. To date, they have only been on Saturdays, but this time it's on a Thursday. That's interesting because Thursday is a work day. May Day, traditionally, in certain parts of the world, is a day that recognizes workers. And so it's not a work day. But here, May Day is not normally celebrated. So I think it's very interesting that it was picked as the next the day of resistance. So also, I don't know if you saw that Jamie Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, yesterday, no, day before yesterday, called for in public mass demonstrations. That's a very interesting thing for a governor to call for, and good for him. Um, and let's see how May Day will go. Uh, I think that 47 and the Posse Comitatus Act, which he is trying to dismantle, which means that he can um, sick the military on the civilian population. I think it takes time to go into effect, something like 90 days. But you know what? If he felt like he wanted to, there's nothing to say he wouldn't say to the National Guard, get those people who are demonstrating. I don't like them, and we'll worry about the legality of it in court, because that's what he does, right? He does his dirt, and then he just takes it to court and hopes that he wins. So, how will May 1st go? Will it be as peaceful as it's been? I'm going to say again, Black people, we need to stay home. We can send prayers, we can send Reiki, we can send good intentions, we can send, pack somebody a lunch if you want, but don't go out there because then these demonstrations will not be peaceful. I'm not saying that we're the ones who would be violent, but all 47 needs to do is see some Black bodies out there and then sick his military on us. So our sitting out is about two things, as I've always said, and I'm not the only one saying it. We deserve to, because this is not our fight. We didn't create this problem. So why should we fix it? But number two, we are participating strategically by staying home. He's going to be a lot less likely to turn his dogs and his batons and his police and all that and his hoses on white people than he is on us. That's just a fact, historical, empirical fact. So you all stay home. I'm going to be staying home. But how will it be for the rest of you who go out there? And I think I'll use the garden as the center card. The garden would be for these big gatherings of people. Okay. How will May 1st, the next 51 day of resistance and protest, how will that go? So we're looking for, what did I say? The garden. Okay. Oh my gosh. It's the first card. So, okay, that's so cool. When it's the first card, remember my intention was that it was going to be the center card, but it's not. It's the first card. So where do I put it? I put it first. And that means that I pull four cards after it, which tells me that whatever that center card is really important. Okay, so here we go. It's the first card, so I make it the first card. And then I have to go in order. Okay. So these are the protests on May 1st, the garden, followed by the anchor. The young man is in the center. the fox, and the child. You know, I'll tell you, I think that the more these protests go on, and I don't know if you saw, uh, what's her name? Rachel Maddow had on a correspondent, I forget her name, who went to Hungary. And Hungary, of course, is under a dictatorship, the dictatorship of Viktor Orban, who is a role model for 47, self-proclaimed. And every week, I think it's on a Tuesday, people flood the streets in protest against Orban and his government. Every week, for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. We need to look to countries like Hungary. Need to look to countries like South Korea, right? Um, to see how to do this. How do you build this muscle to sustain this effort over days, over weeks, over months? How do you do that? So I think that people are finding their groove, understanding the importance of um, staying power, showing up, showing up, showing up, showing up, showing up. I loved the fact that Easter did not hold anybody back from protesting last week, whenever that was, the day before Easter. Everybody was out, which was great. So I think that the energy of these protests will be sustained. I think people are becoming expert at how to do this thing, how to resist effectively, and that this is new. You know, people would watch the civil rights movement, right? A lot of people protested Vietnam. Those people are old now. Um, but, it's been a minute since people have actively participated in these kinds of demonstrations, except, of course, for Black people. But anyway, that's why we're on the sidelines now. But I think people will find this a new sort of a new vigor, a new enthusiasm, a new fire lit under them to sustain it for the long term. They're becoming pros, experts at how to do this. They're outfoxing the fox in chief. And what is our center card? It's this Bastille Day, Marseillaise, uh, um, revolutionary energy, yang energy. I love that. So let's pull some clarifiers. Remember, we're looking at how May 1st will go. So let's pull clarifiers, just maybe one for each card. So on the demonstrations themselves, the government will have to hear this, and so will the Supreme Court, because this is also the court system. People will be watching, and between people in the streets and the poll numbers, there could be people in high places in, for example, um, commerce and industry, banking, et cetera. All of that's represented by this card, who see what the people are saying and who may say having this guy in the White House is starting to disadvantage not just the little guy, but us too. The commitment on May 1st will be sustained. These demonstrations will go forward and will grow in size. And the people are feeling their power. People are starting to have a new identity in relation to their government. People are starting to be less complacent and sort of blind and more eyes open, elbows up, to quote the Canadians, And finding this is the card for identity and for reputation. Wanting to have this kind of reputation that we don't take this stuff lying down. Remember, the first 100 days were all about shock and awe. You know, you would get up in the morning and be punched, and just when you got ready to get up again, boom, again. That's over. Over. People have found their second wind, found their stride, found their purpose. It's a card for purpose as well. And it's this. It's that energy of the Bastille, the energy of the Marseillaise, the energy of revolution. People also are becoming expert in the art of the long game. So that's great. And then at the end, we have this child card. This is new for us. I mean, not really. We had a revolution, we had a civil war, but it's been a minute since we all coalesced for a cause. And, some people will go one way, some people will go another way. And I think it'll happen fast. And then we have this yin energy card. The hope is that have we not all experienced enough pain to be able to say, a la Rodney King, can't we all get along? Can we can we agree that we're not going to villainize those who voted the way that we all know they should not have voted if these are people who want to come in from the cold? Can we be um, can we be open armed to them? It's not an easy thing. Like you want to say, what did we tell you? But can we welcome them in because their student loans are going to come due. They don't have jobs. They can't afford eggs. They can't buy a new car. So they will feel it. Their farms cannot be harvested. They are going to feel it. And so let us be welcoming to them as they come in from the cold. So I think the first will go fine. Um, I don't think any uh, National Guard will be called out this time. I think that the energy will be sustained and invigorated. And, this is the long game. This is the long game. Again, Canada, hats off. Really, really happy for you. Grateful to you because you showed us how it's done. And I hope we take a leaf out of your book um, in time. So anyway, Ruby Bridges and I say good night. And tomorrow, look for me on Substack. I don't know what I'm going to write about, but I'll have something up. And I'll see you here again very soon. Please do like, share, and subscribe. Take care.